So my game right now is at a point where I focus on character-based pickup as my method, okay? So my technical sticking points are down. I'm just focused on the emotional right answer. I'm always asking myself, what is the right emotional answer in the situation? If you have the right emotional answer in the situation, most of your problems will autocorrect. You might not know exactly what to do in terms of the behavior or the mechanic, but most of the correct answers will autocorrect if you're trying to figure out where it's coming from. Am I coming from the right place when I'm saying this? Am I coming from the right place when I'm doing this, okay? So my character-based pickup at this point is based on me just showing the girl that I am that guy. That's my goal, right? I am that guy. And when I say that guy, I think of like the typical like cool alpha male. There's lots of synonyms for it. Alpha male, boss, CEO, cool frame. My whole game is focused on showing her that I am that guy, okay? So if I can show her that I am that guy, hypothetically, everything that's a problem will no longer happen anymore. So everything that's like a sticking point with her will be gone. A lot of guys, have issues with things like LMR. They say, I got the girl back to the place and I had LMR. Well, that's not a concern for me anymore. I don't have that sticking point anymore. A lot of guys say, I got her to agree to a date, but she said, I only want to go on a date if you're buying the drinks, or you have to travel all the way to see her. For example, right now I'm living in America, right? And this is really, really far. Like it's 30 minutes. Most of my dates, actually the last 5 dates that I had, the girl drove from Toronto to come see me, or she took a GO train, or she took an Uber. The last 3 dates that I had, the girl actually took an Uber to my house at about 1 o'clock in the morning, okay? That only comes as a result of being that guy. From running your game from the beginning in a type of way that it eliminates those problems in the end. And I'm gonna tell you guys how to do that as we go through the evening, okay? Another key aspect of my game is I don't try to get every girl, okay? I don't try to get every girl. I try to get the girls that are right for me, okay? I recommend you guys write that down. It's a good point. Don't try to get every girl. Try to get the girls that are right for you. So when guys get in the game, one of the problems is they try to spam approach, right? And it's really good. If you're just getting into the game and you're a beginner, you're trying to get the habit or the mechanics of how to do an approach. For the first year, go ahead, it's spam approach. Spam approach your brain out, okay? But around year 2 or so, something needs to happen. You need to start trying to not go up to girls and not getting blown out, but you need to start going up to girls and trying to blow them out. It's a completely different paradigm shift, okay? So instead of going up to a girl and trying to not get blown out, you go up and you try to blow her out. What I mean by that is you go up to her and you screen her, right? A lot of guys think of qualification and screening as kind of like as a technique. Oh, like back in the day we'd say, excuse me, do you know how to cook? Right, that would be like the screening. I only date girls that cook. You know what I mean? Or something like, what's the most adventurous thing you've done? Stuff like that, like as screening tools, like qualifying, like pretend tools. I do it sincerely, all right? So it took a lot of reflection on my end, but I had to look and actually say, what do I like in a girl? What do I appreciate in a woman? What kind of woman do I want to surround myself with, right? So back in the day, I didn't know what it was. But now, as I've developed and I thought about it, now I have a better understanding of what it is, okay? So for example, what am I looking for in a girl? I like a woman that is feminine, meaning she knows how to take care of her body and present herself in nice clothing. And also she's delicate to the touch. She has like nice clothes on and she takes care of her skin, uses ointment creams, things like that, right? I like a girl that is traditional, like somebody that's gonna be able to come over and cook for me every once in a while, but not in like a chauvinistic way, like you have to cook for me, kind of like, oh, you'll cook for me, but at the same time, I would do something for you. Like I would take a bullet for you, right? So there's an equal exchange there. I like a girl that is articulate and well-spoken and social. Why is that? Because when I hang out with dudes that are really successful, I'm gonna bring her around me into those environments and she's gotta be able to not embarrass me. She has to be able to stand as a representation for me when I'm hanging out with guys in those environments. I like a girl that is super sexual. Why do I like a girl that's super sexual, right? I like a girl that's super sexual because, you know what, I have a really high sex drive, and if I don't have sex about every 3 days, I tend to get a headache and I get very moody. I start throwing temper tantrums, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm begging her for sex and she's feeling like she has to give it to me and I'm feeling like she doesn't want to do it. Give you an example on that. I saw a girl about a month ago. She was leaving, she had work at 7 o'clock in the morning. I came over at 11 o'clock at night. She's like, I don't want to have sex. I have to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, you haven't seen me in a month. and you can't spend 15 minutes having sex because you got to get up at 7 in the morning, which is like 8.5 hours from now, that was like a deal breaker for me, right? So when I'm meeting a girl, I'm screening a girl for all these things. Not as a technique, because it's what I genuinely want, right? So one of my favorite questions at the moment is, are you the type of girl that would get a guy a glass of water after sex? Right? So this is kind of a funny question, because I'm assuming that sex is a possibility, right? It says all those things. It says I'm a sexual guy. It says I'm confident. I'm able to ask these type of questions. But what I'm really getting at is, are you a traditional feminine type of lady who caters to a guy that you're interested in? That's what I really want, right? And when I ask this question, because it's based on my values, what I want as a person, when I ask this type of question, she sees the sincerity behind it. She sees the sincerity in my eyes. She hears the genuine tonality in my voice, and she knows that I really mean this, okay? So one or two things can happen at this point. She could be like, well, you can't ask me that question. A lot of girls say that. You can't ask a girl those questions. I don't even know you. I'm like, cool, fair enough. I know I'm a little abrasive as a person, right? I have to be to work with RSD. I know I'm a little abrasive as a person. Maybe she's not the right girl for me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with blowing her out, okay? Another thing that might happen is she might say, well, that's for you to find out. Oh, that's cool. That's an open invitation. That works for me. You know, there's different ends of the spectrum of what she could say. Or she could just say yes. But either way, I'm asking this question because I want to see if she's a woman that will fit into my life and the type of life that I want to have. I want to see if she's going to be a good partner, a good counterpart. Even if it's for something that's really short term, like a 1 week or a situation there. I don't like one night stands personally, but a 1 week situation, or for something more long term, it's going to be a few months or a few years. I ask these type of questions, okay? So that's a main pillar of my game. I don't try to get every girl. I try to get the girls that are right for me, okay?
Like a no, so instead of like, because in the mentality of like, oh, I'm the boss, I run my own life, and if I like the song, I'm gonna go dance.
Yeah.
But if she says no, so like, what I'm trying to say is, would you stay or would you go? Like, would you like laugh it off? You're like, ha ha ha, like, I guess not this song then. I don't know. Like,
what would I personally do?
Yeah.
I would personally go.
Sleep, right?
Yeah, because what it comes down to is if you like a song, right?
Yeah.
And if you genuinely like a song and you want to dance to a song,
yeah.
Why would you let somebody divert you from doing what you love in life? Why would you make a woman, this is a rhetorical question, you have to answer by the way. Why would you make a woman stop you from enjoying what you love? It's like, these guys that like end up dating girls, and it's like they like poker night with their buddies or something like that, like monster truck rallies, and the girl's like, you can't do that anymore. And eventually he's like, well, sweetheart, I don't know if this is gonna work out. It's like, it was nice to have you on board, but if we can't see eye to eye on these things, I don't know if it's gonna work out, right? The whole idea of like, I compromise to a certain extent, but I don't wanna give up what I love or what I enjoy to keep the girl's attention. I'm willing to lose a girl. I'm willing to lose a girl that's not for me. Right? I'm willing to lose a girl that isn't willing to be into what I'm into. I want a girl who's gonna like march. It sounds conceited, but in reality it's not, because I'll tell you why. I want a girl who's gonna march to the beat of my drum, or the other thing is she's gonna love my expression so much, right? Like Jeffy calls it being the coffee shop, right? He doesn't want to be the Starbucks, the generic Starbucks that everybody will drink. He wants to be that really strange, weird, one-of-a-kind coffee shop that 70% of the people don't like, but few that like it love it, and they always want to drink there. That's what I'm aiming to be with my game. That's how I'm structuring it, right? So I don't try to appeal to every girl, and I'm okay with losing a girl, whether it's in the first 5 minutes or the last 50 minutes. I'm okay with that, as long as I display to her who I really was. My expression that I say is, I'm okay losing a girl as long as I lose her for me. Okay? I'm okay with rejection as long as she rejects me for me. This is kind of like my mantra. I say this to myself. I'm okay with rejection as long as she rejects me for me. Because if I authentically put it out there and I put everything out there, what I really want, who I am, where I'm going, the connection is so much stronger, right? The connection is so much stronger. A lot of guys see like a 9 or 10 in the club and they think, this girl who's a 9 or a 10 wouldn't go for me. But the truth, what I've discovered over time is that there are girls who are 9s and 10s and 8s and even 4s and threes and ones that have personalities that connect with you, okay? You want to go for people that have a natural chemistry connection with you instead of forcing it to work with girls that you have no chemistry with. Because the second you're, like, when you go to a girl and you have no chemistry with her and you're forcing it to try to like work with her, you're essentially trying to give away the house for free, you know? You're trying to like give away all of your funny jokes, all of your like your push pulls, all of your humor that you've worked on and developed from going to conferences like this. You're giving it away to her for free. And the more you do that, you get in the habit of giving away the house for free. So that eventually when you meet that girl, a proper girl who you would have had chemistry with, what ends up happening is you're just so off balance, man. You're just so depleted. You're just so like it's just so much in that chasing, kind of like that chasing vibe that you can't even make it work with that girl. I'd rather be myself, right? I'd rather be myself 100%, and I'll explain what that means. Being yourself. Being yourself basically is who you were as a kid before society stepped on you. You know, who you really were as a kid, what you really want to do when you were a kid, what you really want to say and be like when you were a kid before society or people around you in your environment told you, you know what, you're not that fucking guy. Get down there, right? Get down there, be a chode or be a fag or whatever. Like everybody told you that.
So I guess there's one thing I noticed about what I do versus what you're saying is like I don't see the minor subtle changes. I just like too focused on pulling or something like that. So I could like step back,
yeah,
and see what she's doing and the cues and look a bit deeper to what her actions are and all that before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get more information based on what she's doing rather than just like, okay, step 2, okay, so.
A lot of guys, when they think about games, they think about what do I say, okay? And I'll get into this a little bit later on. I'll give you a quick version of it. A lot of guys think about what do I say. I am not focused on what do I say. Who here has been in game over a year? Put your hands up. Okay, let's say over 2 years. Okay, so as you guys are transitioning from that 1 year to 2 years, stop thinking about what do I say. Start thinking about what is my behavior. What is my behavior here? Because the girls can listen to what you say, but they're actually taking cues from your behavior. That's why evidence theory works, because evidence theory isn't about what you say. It's about your fucking behaviors. Your behaviors communicate way more than your words can ever say. You guys ever heard the expression, a picture's worth 1,000 words, or actions speak louder than words? Because I'm not gaming based on words. I'm gaming based on behaviors and what I'm doing in the field. It's a huge distinction to make, right? Huge distinction. So a lot of guys are thinking, okay, what do I say in this situation? What do I say in this situation? I'm thinking, what do I do in this situation? What do I do in this situation? How do I act in this situation? How do I handle this situation? How do I behave in this situation? How do I walk through this situation? Okay? And it gets you a little bit away from the cool looking pickup. Like I went up to her and I said this line and she laughed and her friends looked at me like this and then I said something else and they all laughed too and it was all good and then I could tell they really wanted it and I said this and they said that and I flipped it like that. Okay, I want you guys to get away from that. I want you guys to start thinking about results. Results don't necessarily come from what you say, they come from what you do. Okay, they come from your behaviors. That's where the results come from. Okay, not what you say, not what you do. You guys were at the Max hot seat, a couple of you guys. You guys saw Max pull a girl with no words. Right? That was a fucking joke. Did you see that, by the way? No? Oh, you heard about it? Yeah. A whole, I think it's a 5 or 6 minute pull. He pulls a girl with 0 words. So what was it that he said that made that work? Right? There was nothing that he said. It was his behaviors. It was his behaviors. He was focused on that. He's focused on giving her enough evidence with his behaviors. All the best guys in the world do this subconsciously without actually calling it that, calling it evidence theory. I just was smart enough to notice what was happening and give it a word, give it a title, right? That's what they do. They don't focus on the words. Because I can give you, all of you guys, let's say I give everybody in this room, there's like 30 people in this room. I have 30 guys in this room, the exact same line, and I have you walk up and I say the line. Some of you are going to be, or let's say a routine, right? A routine that lasts like 2 or 3 minutes. Some of you guys are going to be successful with it. Some of you guys are not going to be successful with it. The guys that are successful with it will be successful of it because of their behaviors when they're doing the routine, right? So behaviors is the paradigm to getting success with women. How getting actual results, not just getting phone numbers that flake. Because you can get a phone number that seems really on in the moment based on what you say. Your quick banter, you said this slick thing, you said something funny. She's like, oh, that's great, take my number, and the number flakes. If you focus on behaviors in the interaction, your phone numbers are going to be ridiculously solid. And we're going to go through some videos and photos of that later on. You guys will see what, now I'm telling you about this, but I'm going to provide the proof. I'm like, proof, and give you the proof so you can see it, because it makes the world of difference. It changes your game dramatically.